I'm Sue Balagodu. I am a traditional product and technologist who now has pivoted to AI, now as in for the past 2 years. I myself was a co-founder of an AI native startup, and very quickly I learned that it's not optional. You have to adopt AI in your current workflow or start working for an AI native product company to catch up with the times. At present, I help startups and growth companies adopt AI in their workflows and help with product and go-to-market strategies there. Today with us, we have Pietro Montaldo. Pietro is a viral phenomenon in himself. If you have seen him on LinkedIn, he has these fantastic knowledge posts that he shares, and all of them go viral purely because they're so valuable. He's also the CEO of Enforce AI. Pietro, thank you for joining us today. Why don't you get us started? Would love to hear more about you, and then we can pivot to what is AEO and then get us started.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Sue, and welcome everyone. I'm really glad that you guys invited me here. This is a topic which went really viral. I've done a couple of sessions on this and they were all very well received. So I'm very, very glad to be here and to hear your feedback and hopefully help you set up something useful that you will actually use starting tomorrow, because we'll end this session with a working tool which you can use starting literally now. Really quickly about myself, I don't want to take time for the actual building session. For starter, I'm a productivity geek and AI geek. I've tried every AI tool I could get my hands on in the last year or so, and I've found some things which I think are really useful, and I use this interest of mine to create educational resources on how to leverage AI, mostly focused for non-technical people, because that's also my background and what I understand best. Just to give you a brief context about my background, I started my career in venture capital, they pivoted to sales, and then approximately a year and a half ago, I co-founded Enforce, which is an AI automation agency that helps develop custom systems for company using third-party technologies. So we are not bound to any specific technology. We use what's best in the market for the specific customer, which is, I think, an incredible advantage in a market that moves so incredibly fast. In my team, I am the only non-technical person. We have 9 software engineers, which have been spending a lot of time with AI in the last 2 years. So before jumping into the actual building session, what are we going to build today and why I think it's very important and it's a very cool topic and also very hot on social media. What we're going to build is a Reddit agent that on a weekly basis go check in some specific subreddit. Every company, every person in this call will select the subreddit which is specifically relevant for their company. So for example, if you are startup marketing, you will go and select the community about startup marketing, of course. If you are, I don't know, if you own a legal studio in New York, you will go to legal community in US or in the state of New York, for example, right? So every week, the agent will go to the specific Reddit which are relevant for your company and look for hot rising posts. And it will select the posts within that subreddit that are mostly relevant for your specific value offering, right? So it will be those posts where you can actually do a valuable comment that will lead people to think, oh, this product, this service, this person is very cool. Let me go find more. Right? This is the intrinsic value of Reddit. The added value which we'll add on top is we will draft and fit the comment to be and structure the comment in a way that are optimized for SEO or AEO. What does AEO mean? Just very simply, if you have never heard the term, it means answer engine optimization, and it's basically the art of crafting content in a way that is meant to be picked up by LLM, so that large language model like ChatGPT recommend your product, just like SEO is search engine optimization works for example, Google. And why is this so cool? Why is Reddit so important for AEO? Reddit is an incredible channel for organic growth, number one. So standalone by itself, it would still make sense for you to invest time there because you can find a lot of clients which are actually interested, which are experiencing the pain that your company and your product solve. But I also a fact, like a statistics that large language module disproportionately cite user-generated content like the one it's on Reddit. And in 2025 alone, before September, approximately between 20 and 40% of total citation in LLM like ChatGPT and Claude came directly from Reddit. And this is a statistic from SEMrush, so it's a very reliable one. This is the context of what we're going to build. We are going to approach this in a very slow way. I'm going to approach it like you have never used or you've never built an agent, so everybody can follow along. If you get lost at any point, don't worry. There's a YouTube recording in which I explain how to go step by step to this, so you can rewatch it there. And you can also, we make sure to send also the access to the template, which we will use, so that you can check it out after and refix it and adapt it to your company, right? We will build a basic structure which works, but it will need optimization for your specific company, for your specific mission to be actually valuable for you. And I will explain you why and the logic between every step that we will build in this workflow. What we will use today to build this workflow is Relay. Let me actually pull it up on the screen. I'll show you briefly the result of what we'll build today. Can you see my screen? So give me a thumbs up if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So this is the end goal of today. At the end of this session, within the next 45 minutes, we will have this built. And it's a full flow. You will need to create an account on Relay to be able to build this with me. Again, it's free. And there's, I think, something like 500 credit, which is more than enough to run this flow for 2 or 3 weeks. Then if you like it, you can expand it, but you can also just replicate this logic on another flow, on another workflow builder like an A10 or Lindy or whatever you're more comfortable with. Myself, I really like to build on Relay. I saw somebody in the chat. Well, let me just put the link again into the chat here. Perfect. Sue also posted it again. So while I speak, maybe you guys can create an account so you'll be able to start when we're ready. What was I saying? How this compare to other workflow builder like an A10? I saw somebody ask this question before in the chat. Relay is just incredibly simple and accessible for non-technical user, which is why I personally use it, because all my content, everything I built is meant for commercial people, marketing people, and people who are not familiar with coding. And A10 is still accessible, but has a learning curve, which is quite steep. You need to invest dozens of hours to actually be able to build complex structure and sophisticated structure. On Relay, if you start from a template and I show you in the session how to build it, tomorrow you'll be able to adapt this flow yourself without incurring major issue. And A10 has more integration and probably it's a more complete structure. As a matter of fact, when we build for a complex solution for clients, when the engineering team come on board and build for our customer, for example, for the agency, it will use something like an A10 or even something more complex like Langflow. For personal assistant, for everyday assistant, I think Relay, for me, is my personal favorite, but you can use other app like Lindy and Relevance, which more or less are comparable. They just use slightly different logic. Okay, so let's start the building part. I hope by now everybody has created an account. Let me drive you through what the end flow will look like, and then I'll start a new flow and we'll go step by step. So we'll start with a trigger. Every Friday, once a week, you can select which day you want it. This flow will run. The trigger is basically the alarm that tells the workflow, okay, wake up and do all of the actions which I specified in this workflow, right? In this case, the trigger will be a weekly trigger. We'll select a day. In this case, it's Friday. And every Friday at 8 a.m., this flow will wake up. We'll then give information to the workflow about which subreddits are relevant for our company. Every single one of you will have to go and research, if you don't already know, which subreddits are mostly relevant and mostly interesting for your company. And then we'll give the flow also information about your own company, right? So we'll upload your website URL, your blog, if you have one, your LinkedIn profile, any text, any information that explain how your product works, how what your company look like, who is your ICP of the company, what your product are, as gold in this case, right? Because it gives the agent more context about what we are trying to give and what we're trying to position on Reddit. Then on a weekly basis, it will go fetch the most recent post which match our criteria. For each subreddit which you have selected, you can select 10, 20 subreddits, or you can select 1 or 2. For each subreddit, we'll get the post, and then there will be another agent who checks all of the posts and selects the one where it makes sense to make a comment, right? So we can position our company within this post because it makes sense. It raised an issue that our product assess, right? So this is the key part, and it's a very large prompt. You'll see it. I'll explain you phase by phase, but it's basically selecting the prompt and drafting a comment. Then once this is done, the top 10 posts will be returned to your email, and every post will have, number one, a drafted comment that mention your product and how it's specifically optimized for answer engine optimization. It will also explain you why it selected this post, right? Why this post was selected and how the comment which was drafted is optimized by SEO. So you have concept. This is more something I do for myself for understanding how it works and if it's going in the right direction, but it's also very useful to learn, okay, what is it doing to optimize it for answer engine optimization? Okay, so this is the full introduction. It was 7 minutes long. Sorry, it was a bit long, but now we have all of the tools where to start building. So let me unshare my screen and share another one with a blank sheet. Okay, perfect. Give me a second. Okay, so now we're gonna start from scratch. When you log in, and you should have created an account by now, when you log in, you have this tool up there who says new workflow, which is what we're gonna do now. We're gonna start from scratch. You see I have plenty of stuff here, but it's because I work a lot on Relay. But we're gonna just go ahead and create a new workflow. If you have any question during the session, you can post it in the chat. Sue will stop me. I will also make pauses and try to go very slow so that you have a good understanding and we can be as helpful as possible. If at one point you get lost or if you don't want to build along with me and just follow, not a problem. Instead, we'll send the template and a YouTube where I go basically over the steps in a slower way, so you can also do that if you prefer. Okay, so as we said before, the first thing we have to do when we create any sort of AI workflow is create a trigger, which means telling the agent when to wake up. If we select a trigger and we see here, there are many different types of triggers. You can be manual, for example, me telling, okay, clicking a button, telling, okay, start. It can be scheduled, which is what we'll use for this flow, which means, I don't know, every Monday, every Tuesday, every day at 8 a.m., go and activate this workflow. Or it can be, for example, a mail loop. So when I receive an email from a specific person or with a specific subject, then activate the workflow. In this case, we will select schedule and we will leave it as standard. In this case, it will offer me October 28th, and then I will turn it it will be by default on daily. We will turn it into weekly on Tuesday. It will be the standard appear at 8 a.m. So this workflow, I can edit it and have it at Friday, like in the template I showed before. In this case, it doesn't really matter. You can edit after. Let's say we want this flow to run once a week, and on a Tuesday at 8 a.m. Once this is done, I'm going to insert here a note so that's easier for you to follow along. You don't have to insert the notes. These are just to make the flow more organized and so that you can follow along. Once we have selected the trigger, we will start with the actual workflow. The first thing we want to do, as we said in the introduction, is give this agent information about the subreddit which we want to monitor. The agent won't know by itself. You can also build another agent to find the subreddit, right? This will be just too long within the concept of this section. So let's say you already know, or you have an idea which are the subreddit, or you can go after this session and research which subreddit are most relevant for your company. What we're gonna do is we wanna insert the subreddit here, and we do it by going to utilities and inserting a table of constants. Create a table of constant. This is basically just a table like a Google Sheet or an Excel that lives within Relay. We could also connect an Excel or a Google Sheet. It would just be one more step and one more connection. So to make it easy, since it's a really, really simple table, we will do it directly within Relay with this item, which is called table of constant, which is just a simple table. We will add it one item, which is called subreddit. Perfect. And it's going to be a text item. And what this item will include is just the name of the subreddit, right? In this case, I will introduce two sample subreddits, so later we can test and see if this actually works. But for now, I inserted the two names of two different subreddits. Again, customize this, adopt your own subreddit. Make sure you do not introduce the r/, which is the traditional way in which subreddits are called. Let me actually put it here, so you have a better idea. So the subreddit name, when you go to Reddit, it will be like this: r/product marketing. In this case, we want the variable without the r/. With the r/, we will have no results, right? So just a formatting thing, which is very important. So I'm just going to add them both to give you the example: subreddit name and subreddit. Subreddit difference is only that there is no r/ here. Once this is done, the flow knows which are the subreddits which are important for us. The next step, which you want to do, and I'm going to add another note here, is to give our company information, right? This agent needs to be able to know who we are, what we do, who are our ICPs, what the product we are selling is. This is the only way in which you can actually position us and also optimize the content for answer engine optimization. So we're going to do this in two steps. Number one, we're going to insert our links. One more time, it will be the same step. We'll go to utilities. We will insert a table of constant, and we will insert information about our company. In this case, I'm going to have company name. And then I'm going to have, when you click on plus, you see here, it will prompt you to insert the type of variable which you're about to insert, right? Company name is simple text. But for example, when I go ahead and insert my website, it's going to be a URL type of variable, right? So I'm going to insert here company URL, for example. And then I'm going to insert another URL variable, and I'm going to insert company blog URL. This assumes you have a blog. If you don't, you can omit this variable. And then I'm going to insert one more, and it's going to be link. Perfect. Once this is done, I will insert a company just so we have something to test with. And I will let's use Relay app, which is this app we're using today to build this workflow, just because everybody should be more or less familiar with it since we're using it today. So I'm inserting here the links. I'm just copy pasting them. Perfect. Now what we have done, we're given all of the information that we have and are available online, so the agent can go and query them and gather all of the information which are relevant. Once we have given the link, I want to really make sure the agent understands my company. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one step, which is going to be an AI step, so that an AI step takes all of the information I've given about my company in step 3 and reword them to create a company profile about myself.
Maybe a
Yes.
good time to take a quick pause, take a pulse. Is everyone following along until this point? Any questions or blockers, or can we proceed?
You can tell me if I'm going too fast. I can go one bit slower. If you have any doubt, stop me at any point. Okay?
Okay, I think it's good to go so far.
I see Michael is doing thumbs up. It's the
Yeah.
only face I see, so I will take that. But stop me if it's not so.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I got lost at the create constant. I couldn't find a table, but carry
okay.
on. I
No,
mean,
no. Let me show you one more time.
Yeah.
We are perfectly on time, so not a problem. Again, you will receive the full template, and this will be already done, but you'll be able to go into the details, okay? But
okay.
if you go here, when you open a menu, you click on the plus, you see a bunch of things here. You can either search by typing, or you can go down. In this case, we're using utility, okay? So when I'm using utility, I'm either creating a table, I'm making a conversion from one format to the other, right? So this is what utilities are. When I click on utilities, I see that the third item in this list is going to be a create a table of constant. And when I click on that, I will automatically have the table format that opens here, and I have to add the columns. Did you find it, Gary?
No, I mean, I have create constant and then just as outputs under the, anyway, just carry on because otherwise it'll be
Okay.
too.
Just make sure that you go to the third step, right? Create constant is only going to be one constant. Create table of constant will create a table, right? So
Yeah.
make sure you go to step 3 here.
Okay.
Perfect. So the next step, as we said, is we're gonna take all of the information which we given about our company here and create a company profile about ourselves. How we do this is by inserting an AI step, right? And what we want is to insert an AI agent. Now you can find this either by going to AI, scrolling down and selecting agent here, or once you know a bit how things are called, you can just type agent here, and it will automatically prompt you to find the agent. Same for table of constant. If you type table of constant, you will find directly the table of constant. So we will insert an agent here. Now, I will insert the prompt, and then I will copy paste in the chat, so you can insert it as well to build with me, okay? Before, I will explain you what's a prompt and which part of the prompt is meant to do, okay? So what we want to do here is based on our company name. And in this case, I'm going to go here and find company name. Basically, I'm inserting variables here. When I want to insert a variable, really you have to type at and then find the specific variable, right? So based on our company name, and I found the element which I was looking for, and based also on our company URL and company blog URL, let's add our LinkedIn as well. Basically, I'm telling you based on all of the information which you have and you have received till now. To insert the LinkedIn, what we have to do is to click on Tool here and go to Connected Apps, go to LinkedIn, and then we have to do look up LinkedIn company profile by URL. The agent already has the URL, so we'll find the LinkedIn of Relay app in this case, and we'll extract all the information from there. So now we have just linked this prompt to the exact element that will tell you which information we want him to base this research on, right? So these are just variables which we use. And based on this, we wanted to, let's say, create a description of my company, who it serves, which is it in, who it is, what the messaging are, and what we have done here, we have given all of the reference to information which we have added, and it will be dynamic, right? So for example, when you use my template and you insert your company information, the prompt will naturally reference the variable which you have inserted previously in the tool. And if you want to change the variables, they will keep referencing them. So we have told them, based on all this information, create a description of my company. Sorry, I'm a bit dyslexic. Create a company, who it serves, which niche is it in, basically create a profile on how we sell and who do we sell to. right? This is what we want, a summary of everything we have before. Now, I have tried the step with or without this workflow with or without this step. So just reference the information from the website or having a step to basically narrow down and summarize them. This works better just because it uses less token, it has better context on what we're doing and what we want to promote. Now, once we have done this, we want to make sure to do two things. One, we have to make sure that this AI step, has access to the right information. In this case, it only has to have access to the information about our company. And we see that when we created the step, this was automatically created. So in this case, it has all of the information, all of the context which it needs to operate. And the other thing which we have to make sure when we create any sort of agent, be it here or in another platform, is that it's the output format is the one we want. In this case, for example, I see that it has generated automatically a company format which has different item with different types of variables, right? So it will return a company description, a target audience, the niche, a target customer. It inferred all of these outputs from the prompt I gave. In this case, this is not what I want. In this case, I only want one item, which is a summary of my company, so I can reference it later in the flow. So what I have to do is change the output format. If I go here, if I go on this box that says field, and I go to the three dots up on the right here, it will tell me change output formats to text. If I click on that, it will automatically turn into a simple block of text. I can say if I want a rich text, if I want formatting, in this case, it doesn't matter, or if I'm fine with plain text. In this case, I'm fine with plain text. Okay, so this is everything we have to do to set up this. I am gonna copy this prompt, paste it here. You have it. If you couldn't write it down with me, you can copy and paste it. Make sure that when it looks odd, it has the div variable before company name. You have to edit and insert a variable, right? When I copy paste, it doesn't keep the variable because the variable are exclusively within Relay. So what you're gonna have to do when you paste, and let me show you one more time here. If I go again, paste from the Zoom chat and paste it here, you'll see here, when I have this div, it means I have to insert a variable, right? So I select it, I press add, and then I go to where we inserted the information about the company, which is step 3, the first JSON data in the list. In this case, we will only constantly have one JSON, which will be our company, and I select company name. And then I do the same for company URL. I want to reference this, so I put an add to do the reference, and then I will add tab 2, first JSON data in the list, company URL. And you'll go on. Remember to insert a tool. You click here bottom where it says plus tool, and you want to use the LinkedIn lookup to find the company, this specific company on LinkedIn.
So, Pietro, quick question there. For looking up LinkedIn, can we also add a third column in that table that is the LinkedIn URL and just call it as the same as we did for company name and company URL, or do we have to link it through tools?
In this case, LinkedIn is not open, right? You can't access if you don't have a profile. So you will need a tool to do it. Tools are already pre-built within Relay. Like when you do it on an A10, you will also have a tool to query LinkedIn profile. So in this case, if you just reference, you won't be able to access the information that you would have if you have a profile. Well, if you use a tool, in this case, you'll also be able to extract all of the information, right? Because there's a tool built that acts as a person profile, go to the profile and extract the information which we want and can access all of the information.
Okay, thank you.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So once this is done, we'll click done and this step will be over. So we have given all of the subreddit which we want to track, given information about our company, created a profile about our company, and the next step, the next thing which we want to do is retrieve the Reddit post on a weekly basis. So let me add another note, so this is easy to follow. Summary, search for key Reddit post this week. So now what we'll do is search for key Reddit post each week. This is a simple step. Now, we have selected multiple subreddits here, right? We have, in this case, 2, product marketing, product hunter, but you could have 10, 15, 20, as many as are important for the company. In this case, what we want to do is I want to iterate through every subreddit. So go through every line of this table one by one, and for each subreddit, extract the post, the relevant post for this week. Every Tuesday, it will do this. So to do this, what we have to do is insert an iterator. So if you type iterator, it will pop up here a step that says loop over a list, right? You want to use this type of step when you have a list of things and you want to perform a specific set of instruction for each item, every line, every row you have in a table or a list. So here, when we insert the loop of iterator, we'll be prompted to insert a list, like we said just a second ago. In this case, we want to connect it to the list of subreddit which we have selected for our company. We have selected here in step 2, key subreddit for our company. So I will connect it to list on step 2. And I want to run these steps for every item in the list. So again, an iterator will take every line on a table or on a list, and will perform a specific set of action, which we'll insert here within the iterator for each line of that list. So let's suppose we have 2 subreddits. For each of the 2 subreddits, what we want to do is go to Reddit and select this step. If you type Reddit here, it will open up here, and it will tell you get post by subreddit, which is exactly what we want to do. We want to go to Reddit, for each subreddit, get the posts, so we can decide where do we want to comment. For each subreddit, we need to connect it to the exact subreddit that we have. So you just go here. When you select the subreddit, you'll go on plus here, so you can add the variable, and you can select here subreddit. Do not select subreddit name. Subreddit name was the r/. We want this to be the pure name of the subreddit without the r/. Otherwise, it won't work. Not a big problem, you can edit it later, but make sure you select the subreddit. Then you'll have 2 more variables to insert. Variable number 1 is you want to select the order. Now, this is an important bit of information because you can select these. You can either select hot or rising. Hot will be posts were already big and already have gathered a lot of eyeballs. So they are past their prime and they will gather attention because it's became big and it had a lot of upvote and a lot of interest. Or you can select rising. Rising will be those posts that are starting to get traction, right? So they're in the rising part of the peak of interest. Now, rising posts, if you want to leverage them, you need to comment within a couple hours since they were posted. So you can select rising, but only if you want to run this workflow on a daily basis, right? Otherwise, you lose that rising part. If you want to run it like I do, for example, on a weekly basis, for me, it's better to use hot posts, which is posts were already established. I've already established a certain set of engagement and will keep getting attention, right? Basically, rising is more a bet. If it goes well, you could get a lot of eyeballs. Hot is, okay, this is good, this will get eyeballs, but maybe I'm not gonna get, 1 million impressions or an exponentially high amount of impression on my comment. So if you run it weekly, I recommend selecting hot. If you run it daily and you have more time to dedicate, having rising could bring you better results. I'm gonna go ahead and select hot because we have set the trigger to run on a weekly basis. The next step, which we wanna do is we want this to select the hot post within the last week. Again, here, if you wanna run it daily, you will select day instead of week. In this case, we want to look back a week and take the hot posts that were posted within the last 7 days. If no Reddit posts are found, I want it to pause and send a notification, just because it should always find posts, and it means something went wrong and I want to come and I don't want to waste the credits, right? But this is just a nuance. Okay, so once we have done this, we click on done, and we have already finished with the iterator. This iterator has only one goal. Go through all of the subreddits which you have selected, extract all of the posts which are hot in the last 7 days. These are the best possible posts for us to leave a comment on. Once this is done, you can do 2 things. Either add a step within the iterator. In this case, we don't need to because we only needed 1 step within the iterator. we're going to go outside the iterator. So you want to click on the plus outside the box of the iterator. And we want to do, I'm going to add another note. What we want to do here is we want to create a summary of weekly Reddit post. Pasting, perfect. So this is the heart of this workflow, the most important part, and it has the AEO optimization part, which is very important. What we want to do here is, again, click on type agent. When you type agent, you select this part, agent. And once we are here, we're going to go ahead and insert the prompt. In this case, it's a very long prompt. I don't have time to type it with you. So I'll paste it and I'll go through it with you and explain you each part of the prompt. And then I will also paste it in the chat so you can insert it in your own workflow. Okay, so give me a second, I'm copying it. Perfect. Okay, so you see here, again, there are some formatting inconsistencies. This means I had a variable from where I copied, and I would need to reconcile this with the variables as well. So in this case, I want to tell it based on, and again, say my company name, based on my company name, and AI output, and all of the profile which we have built on step 4 about our company, identify which Reddit posts are relevant for me to comment on, because they might be interesting to leave a comment on my company, on what we offer. My goal is to leave comments that mention how our service can help without directly promoting or disclosing us being part of the company. Basically, how can my company, first, my company name, my company can help in this specific case. I'm gonna have to add the variable here as well. How can company name help? So this is a question of philosophy. You can either disclose you are from the company, say disclosure, I'm from Enforce AI, this is what we do, I think we can help. Or you can be a bit more, I don't know what's the term, but you can basically not disclose and just position it as a peer-to-peer recommendation. My philosophy is it's fine to put it as a peer-to-peer recommendation and just describe a good set of solution which could be helpful for this specific case, for this specific post, and I will include my product within those solutions that can help. But you can also add this prompt and make sure for every comment it discloses that you are for that specific company, if this matches what you want to achieve best. We want to make sure to select posts purely by topic fit, specifically those for which my value proposition or solution is relevant and could add meaningful insight. Here we want to make sure, and you'll see it repeated multiple times over and over in this prompt, that we communicate with the AI and we say clear in the prompt that we want to only comment on posts which are relevant for our company, what we want to do. We don't want the AI to just select posts because it has to and because I told them. I only want to post where it's really relevant, right? Once it has done this, I wanted to generate the top 10 posts of the week. I select the top 10 because that's the amount of time I want to dedicate to it, right? I have an hour to dedicate to write it. When I receive the summary with the post to comment, I want to go through the comment, perfect the comment if I want to edit something and post it. And I have time to do 10 in an hour, approximately. If you have more time or you just want to do more, you could have it top 10, top 20. You can select more subreddits and give the AI freedom to select more posts. In this case, my prompt says, I want the top 10 posts of this week, ranked by 1 to 10 by relevance to our value proposition and opportunity to promote our service indirectly. You can use all of the information included in, and again, I'm going to have to insert here the variables, in company name, and then I'm going to put company URL here, AI output, and I'm going to put also our blog just to make sure it has access to all of the relevant. Perfect. For each post, then once we have done this, we have told them select this, rank them 1 to 10 for each post, draft a helpful, high-quality comment that follows as many possible of the following rows. And this is the AEO optimization part.
True. Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but Pratik has a good recommendation. He says, can you post the prompt now so we can do the editing along with you so we can catch up?
Yes, I'm happy to do it. Usually it works best if I do it after, but you can select pick your own poison. Because at least you can follow along while I build the prompt.
While you're
And then,
editing, yeah. I think that's good. Thanks, Pratik.
but let me post it here. I will need to post it in two parts because it's too long and the messages won't take it. This is part 1. This is part 2. Just give me a second, I'm almost there. Pasting part 2. Actually, I need to do it in 3 parts. Perfect. Okay, so this is the totality of the prompt. Again, you have to insert the variables like I'm doing now, right? So we were saying we want each comment draft to be following as many as possible of these SEO AO rules, right? So we wanted to frame the problem clearly, a response with deep specific insight. We want to integrate SEO keywords and geo modifiers naturally within the comment. For example, mentioning relevant location, regions, local regulation, pricing difference, and so on. We want to have a clear formatting, which is short paragraph, bullet point, subheading if needed, and make it scannable and structured. And we want to anticipate relevant question or cover multiple angles of the topic to improve discoverability and evergreen value. These are just the rules we're giving to him so that he frames it in a way that LLM are most likely to pick it up, right? We want to position our company, and again, I'm going to reference to company name, as a relevant solution using information listed above. You must, I tried this multiple times, and at one point it was being so subtle and so peer-to-peer that it wouldn't recommend my product directly, it would just basically mention it. In this case, I wanted to tell him, you must find a way, a light way to mention the company, saying it's what you're using, you're happy with it, right? It's very important it mentions the company name and says it's using it, right? It got so good at being peer-to-peer that it stopped recommending my company, right? So this is why I added this part, just for context. And finally, I want this part, you can remove it if you're not interested. For me, it's very interesting because it helps you understand how this works, how the LLM work. I wanted to explain why each post was selected, the topic fit, and why the drafted comment is likely to perform well from a SEO geo perspective: keyword inclusion, location specificity, structure, answer, evergreen angle. Okay, so this is the prompt. This is, again, is the most complex part, and it's the heart of this flow, which is why we have dedicated a bit more time to it. Like we did last time, here we want to make sure we are respecting 2 things. Number 1, we want to make sure this AI step has access to the right information. We see that he has access to the Reddit post, which is step 5. And we wanted to have access also to the AI output with stat, which is our company profile, which we have built. Naturally, it will automatically, every AI agent will have automatically access to the previous step, right? So in this case, it will be the results of the iteration, but we also wanted to have access to step 4, which is the AI output, which is description of our own company, right? So in this case, I have to add it manually. Once this is done, the second thing which we have to do is to check that the responses are in a format which we want. In this case, previously, if you remember, we changed the output to one unstructured text format because that's what we needed. In this case, I will ideally want to insert this information in a Google Sheet. So I have all of the posts for this week well identified. So I wanted to have a list of responses, which is what the auto-generate feature recommended. And I wanted to have several different items within the auto-recommend. I want the rank, 1 to 10, Reddit post title, Reddit post URL, the drafted comment, the reason for post selection, why was selected this post, why there is a fit with my product, my offering, and the SEO and geo performance explanation. In this case, I don't need to change anything because the auto-generate feature, sorry, I was reading the comment, the auto-generate feature has worked very well. Cesca, to add the AI output, you will go here to the box with just below the prompt, and you'll add data from previous steps. When you click here, you'll see Reddit post is already included because it's the iteration results, and you'll have to add step 4. Okay, perfect. So once this is done, I'll give you 1 minute to finalize your post if you're building with me, your prompt if you're building with me, and then unfortunately we only have 10 minutes. I wish I could give you more time, but we have to then run through the next step.
So, Pietro, while we give people a minute to edit their posts, there was another question Lakshmi had in the chat where she says, when you look at the workflow,
Yeah,
it's the first three, the trigger has its own box, and then we have the next 3 steps in a box, and then the iterator. Is
yeah.
there any significance for it to be grouping that way?
It's just because I insert notes, right? It doesn't absolutely matter. I just separate because it's beautiful. Usually use it to explain to people how to build. So I always insert notes. But if I were to, let's just remove it here, it just looks slightly different, right? And if I remove this, these 3 will be completely together, right? So I just add notes because it looks more organized and it's easier to follow if I'm doing a live building session, for example. But that's the only reason. In general, you just want to make sure that the steps work in order. They work well in the order that you have built them. That's the only important thing which you have to be mindful about.
As someone like I've built some of these, and I think one thing that helped also was, the for loop step 5, you guys, that just has one step in this workflow, step 6. But if there are more steps that needs to be within the for loop, then it's important for it to be within that block, right?
Correct,
So
exactly.
that
So yeah, when you create an iterator, you will distinguish between the tasks that are within the iterator, which will be performed multiple times for each item in the list, and the tasks which are outside the iterator, right? So that's a very important thing. Every task which is inside the iterator will be performed a set of times as long as your list is, and the items outside the iterator will be performed only once. So thank you. So yeah, that's actually a very good distinction. And you see it here in the box because it has a slightly different color.
How do you set it as an iterator?
So to add an iterator step, I'm just gonna exemplify it here. You just click iterator. You just type iterator, and it'll be this section which is either iterator or loop over a list.
Okay.
Perfect. Sorry,
Thanks.
I'm just gonna remove it. I'm gonna go to the final step just because we don't have so much time and we can have maybe two minutes of Q&A. I will send you this template so you can use it and you can use my own prompt and template. It was just interesting for you to try and build it with me, but you'll have access to the full thing anyway.
we'll share the recording as well.
Perfect.
Maybe
So the
when
last step.
the prompts, Pietro, would you
Sorry?
be sharing the prompts in a document as well?
It's when I share the template, it will be my workflow with my own prompt, right? So you can just open this step, for example, and check it. I'll show you in a second. So let's just try and finish and run it. And while it runs, I'll show you more stuff. The last thing which we want to do is send ourselves an email. So if you click send, if you type send, and you add this tab, send the email to yourself, you'll be prompted to have an email subject here. And I will post to comment. And then I will add the variable current date time just to make it more organized. This is just the subject of the email, it doesn't really matter. And then in the body, I want to tell him summary of the post to comment on. And I want to add some data from step 7, which is the response which we have done here. I want to list, like I want to go here, I want to go to step 7 and add a bulleted list just to make the email organized. And I want to tell him, mention the Reddit post title here. And for each title, create a bullet list. Again, this is just a formality, so I'm running through because we don't have so much time. We want to have the Reddit post URL and the reason for post selection and the drafted comment here, right? So I'm just telling you this is the email. For every email, I want all of the 10 posts which you have selected. I want the post title, the URL, the reason for post selection, and the draft of the comment, okay? So let's just run it so we can see the end of it before the time runs out. To run a test run, which won't cost you credit, you can click here, start a test run, and click on start now. Now we'll go through every single item of the step, okay? Let me just change this for a second.
We have
Okay.
4 minutes. I want to make
Yes.
sure we're able to see the end result. So I typically at this time, I share the surveys for you guys to scan, but I'm going to drop it in the chat. Please take the survey. It'll take a minute. I can also send it in the email follow-up to save time. This will help us understand if you want to see more such content. And it's good feedback for Pietro as well.
Absolutely. So I went to the original step so we can see the results. You'll see here that when it has run through every step, I'm able to go inside and look at the output of every step. So here, for example, on step 4, I'll see the company one pager which we have built. I'll see the niche, the target customer, the main messaging and style, the product capabilities, and so on. So I'll have the output of this step, for example. We see he has found one profile, which is hopefully, yes, Relay App profile on LinkedIn. We see that has queried for each of the subreddit we have selected, all of the 25 posts for each subreddit, which are the hot posts of the last 7 days. We'll see that he went through this big prompt and he returned the top 10 of the post which we want, and for each one of them we'll have the rank, the post title, the post URL, and the topic fit. And then if we go to the email, you will see that you also have seen the email yourself. I'm showing you like another step where I have actually also inserted the results in Google Sheet. It's slightly more complex. It will be included in the YouTube video, so if you want to do this, check it there. And it's, for me, the best possible way to see the results, right? So in the results, I will have a Google Sheet already formatted that says, okay, rank, this is the first title, has anyone tried building agentic AI system to manage internal audit for PMM teams? Very relevant question for what it really does. I have here the URL of the post, so I can go open it. Here it explains me the topic fit, exactly about deploying autonomous, semi-autonomous agents, which is exactly what Relay does, what the company we're pretending to be in this case does. And then let's go check the comment, which is the most interesting part. Lesson from rolling out AI agent to keep PMM from fresh. Source of truth. First, LLM seconds, point the agent on a single repository, let the agent post links back, not copies, version at a statistic. Perfect. Now, it's a bit hard to understand how it, without reading the post, and unfortunately we don't have time, but we'll share this as well. I think what I want to show you is that at one point in every comment, it should mention Relay as a potential way of solving one of the issues which this post is facing, right? And do it in a very AEO optimized way so that this comment is likely to be picked up by LLMs. And here, for teams that don't want to babysit infra, I've been using Relay.app. I spin up an code agent that talks to Notion plus HubSpot plus Gmail in under an hour. Perfect. This is an example of how to use Relay, which is incredibly relevant for this post. And it's super, the post itself and the comment itself is very, very organized and likely to be picked up by LLM, which is exactly what we want to build in this specific session. Again, sorry if I had to rush to the thing. I thought we had a bit more time, but this is the most important stuff. I should also have received an email. Okay, perfect. This is the actual flow which we're running now. And this, you will receive it every week once this on the day which you select. Again, here is the topic of the thread. Here is the URL of the thread. This is why it was selected, and this is the comment. You see it's slightly different now because it's another run of the same agent, which has come up with a different comment. But the important thing is, again, here, I use Relay App and I've been happy with it because it combines multi-app automation with human review, step, and audibility, right? It puts us in a peer-to-peer recommendation, makes it in a very natural way, including a lot of other information as a context, and it makes it in a very, very structured way, which is exactly what we were going for. Again, I'll post it here, the link of the YouTube video where you can see this session in half an hour, scan through, and we can also see all of the steps. Yeah, sure.
We'll share this recording from Sidebar with everybody that RSVP'd. And you said you'll also share the template and your own workflow if they have relays, so that will be fantastic.
Absolutely. Everything is in the YouTube. I was just saying the YouTube because it explains how to set up the Google Sheet steps, which we didn't have time here, unfortunately. So you can do a mix of the two things on the YouTube description. Also find access to the template. I'll also send it to you, Sue, so maybe you can include it directly in the email.
Yeah, that'd be really helpful. Thank you everyone for joining. Please take the survey. I'll also send it in the follow-up email. And Pietro, thank you so much for your time and for walking us through all of it.
I have one more thing. I want to drop my LinkedIn profile. Guys, feel free to connect if you have questions. Feel free to send it to me. I'm super available. Me and the team, we all manage the profile, so we're basically 24-hour on. If you have help, question, description, if you need help with anything else, I'm super available. I just dropped it in the chat as well.
Thank you, Pietro. Thank you for speaking to our community today, and thank you all for joining.